So let's talk about showing greater love to ourselves using this particular Bible verse. And I know that most of the time we look at this, we think about this is how we're supposed to show love to others and this is how people are supposed to love us. But if we know the word and we know God's will for us is that we love others as we love ourselves. So before we can love others in a particular way, even though we think we are doing our best and we think that we can, you first really got to know how to love yourself in this way. So let me break this down for you guys. Transformational life coach here, Denise. And for those of you who are not familiar with my work, I am a firm believer that if you transform the way you see yourself, you will expand your possibilities. And this is just one more avenue of how we transform our love of ourselves. So the first part, I'm gonna break this down, so be prepared. But love is patient, love is kind. So when thinking about what that looks like for ourselves, love is patient. We are able to be patient with ourselves when we make mistakes. We are able to be patient with ourselves where when we have to relearn lessons, when we do things that we feel like we want to beat ourselves up. We are patient enough to say, hey, if it didn't happen for us yet, that's okay. We still are loving ourselves and we're still proud of ourselves, and we can still look upon ourselves with a respect and appreciation and admiration for ourselves. Love is kind. This means that we are speaking gently and beautifully over ourselves. We're not beating ourselves up and criticizing ourselves. It does not envy, it does not boast. Let me tell y'all something. When other people are doing things that you feel like you should do, or when people are far beyond you and you feel like you're a failure because by a certain age you don't have something yet, or by a certain stage you feel like you're relearning lessons that you already learned before, and other people seem to be excelling, it is not envious of what others are doing because it doesn't see you as less than. It doesn't see you in a negative light. So there is no reason to be envious of what someone else is doing or what they have. Love also doesn't need to boast. Love doesn't need to boast because you know who you are. You're not trying to prove who you are. When we boast, we're trying to prove to others who we are, what we are, and try to get some kind of external validation from others. That's why we boast. And love says, I see you, I know you. I don't need to boast about it because this is just who you are, and I love it all. Love is not proud. And when we say proud, it doesn't mean that you're not, it doesn't mean proud in the sense of, wow, you did a great thing and it affirms you. It means proud as in having this sense of pride and entitlement of saying, like, well, I'm not going to do this and I'm above this thing. Love is all encompassing of the things that we know we just need to do. Love doesn't see itself as above or below. Okay, let me repeat that. Love doesn't see itself as above or below a thing. It's not too proud to ask for help when it needs help, and it's not too proud to do something to that feels like beneath us, because it doesn't see things as beneath you. Going into the next section, love does not dishonor others and it is not self seeking. Love doesn't cause harm to others, it doesn't put others down and criticize them and soils other people's names. It just doesn't. Love is this beautiful, caring, um, uh, amazing thing that we possess, and we feel it so strong for ourselves that we don't need to look down on other people. That's not us acting in a place of love. Acting in a place of love says, okay, I'm going to hold space for you, I'm going to respect you. Love is not self-seeking. Love is not after personal gratification, because love has all that it needs. So love isn't seeking, love doesn't come from a me space. It comes from a collective we, because love knows that it's so filled up that it has to give. But you first have to feel fulfilled within yourself. And that's where that first section comes in. Start to practice the first section of this before you can move into the rest. Love is not easily angered and it keeps no record of wrong. Love doesn't hold grudges. Love doesn't get pissed off when people disappoint you, because love recognizes that things happen and that things come up. So there is no need to hold grudges. It's like, okay, this happens, and I love me enough to know that I deserve to not carry around the weight of disappointment and anger towards other people and resentment towards other people. I have to release that because I love myself too much. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with truth. In this instance, and I got to switch hands because I'm holding this phone with my hand, y'all. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with truth. Love does not take joy in seeing pain. But what it does is it rests in truth. Love wants truth. And I want to go in deeper on this one here. Because when I read this line and I think about the term truth, it is knowing that whatever you were thinking and feeling in the moment is true for you. And so then love rejoices in the acknowledgement of your truth. If you are struggling through something, love is not going to beat you up about the struggle that you're having. Love is going to allow you the space to feel it so that you can move through it and continue on. Love provides space because it's patient and kind enough to do so. Moving on to 7. It always protects. Baby, I got to say this one again. It always protects, and it always trusts. It always hopes, and it always perseveres. Interestingly enough, when I read this line and I see always in there, that stuck out big time to me because I was like, always though? Like always protects and always trusts and always hopes and always perseveres. The last one I can see a little bit more than others, right? And I think a lot of us can connect to that because we have this hustle mentality of we got to keep pushing forward. But the thing is that in pushing forward, sometimes we forget some of these other aspects of what love is. And in that love doesn't hold grudges. Love is not easily angered. And so we can forgive people and we can move through. We can, and not just forgiving people for the sake of forgiving them, but forgiving people for the sake of freeing ourselves from the pain of not forgiving them, right? And so going into love always protecting and love always trusting, love is going to have your back. And so we got to understand that when we act in accordance with those other things that are listed in 4, 5, and 6, that we're going to forever be protected because love has us covered. If we're acting in accordance to that, we cannot not be protected. It's always going to have our back. It's always going to give us an idea of what we need to do next, which means that we then need to trust it. Even when we can't see it, we have to trust it. We have to trust that we will be able to persevere because we will always persevere, but we have to trust that we can. And that's where hope comes in. You're hoping and it's optimistic. And so if love can continue to hope, then love can continue to look towards something brighter and more optimistic and I'm getting lost for a word, but something that's just greater than us to set our sights on and to believe in. 8, love never fails. Love never fails. Love never fails. And that's why you can trust it because it's never going to fail you. It's always going to protect you and you can stand on that.